Welcome, everybody, to our technology professional development today. My name is Leson Gervais. Thank you for being here. I want to be brief yet informative, so let's not waste any more time and jump straight in. Here's just a quick overview of what we will be talking about today. We'll start off by talking about the advancements in technology that have occurred in the past 20 or so years and how this advancing has changed what we do as educators in the classroom. Then we'll discuss proper ways to use technology so it is a useful learning tool and not just a distraction from learning. Then we will discuss uh, how technology should be used and when not to use it, including a guide to help you to make the right decision. As mentioned, we will begin by discussing what has changed in the past 20 years or so that has affected what we do on a daily basis in and out of our classrooms. So 20 years ago, back in 1999, now 1998, or around 20 years ago, broadband internet was just beginning to gain traction as a replacement for good old slow dial-up internet. Cell phones were the oh so wonderful Nokia brick phones or old and quite large flip phones. Laptops and desktop computers had some heft to them, but still, and tablets were not even really something that existed to what they are today. Today, the internet's mobile; it's in our hands and pockets constantly, and if it runs slowly or not at all, we get frustrated and angry. Tablets have almost replaced laptops, and one day soon could do just that. And desktop computers hardly ever get replaced because they hardly ever get any use. Because of these advances in technology, our everyday lives have changed. The things we used to do in private have become more public, and even some people put everything out there that they do for the public to know, and some even make money off of it with the invention of Instagram. Uh, but within that, people can get ideas, so this has pros and cons. People may post too much information and get into trouble with what they post. Now, one advantage to that is that maybe that can help police catch people that break laws or then even brag about what they did online or even post pictures of the crime or results of the crime that they did. Now, of course, there's again people that make money off of this stuff. YouTube and Instagram influencers are making people into millionaires, even. And that's even influencing our students to want to do things like that. Because of how people are anonymous on the internet, or can be if they choose to, they can get away with a lot of public shaming or uh, slanderous type things that get people in trouble, can lose people their jobs, or they can do things to themselves that get them to lose their jobs. We all know the story of the teacher, I think she was in New Jersey or something, where she got fired because she had a red solo cup in her hand, and commonly those cups are used with alcohol. And she didn't even necessarily have alcohol in the cup, but because she posted the picture and somebody saw it, that somebody reported it and got her fired because of that situation. So we have to be careful what we post because we can lose our jobs, we can lose our identities. People can steal the money we make out of our accounts because we post too much online. Also, because of these advancements in technology, when in public, people tend to be distracted easier by their technology. We even had to create laws to keep people from getting into car accidents because of technology. When you walk through public places, you tend to see a lot of people with their heads in their phones, not paying attention to the world around them. This happens with the family unit too. They sit around the table unless someone creates a rule or a family rule, that is, that uh, no technology is allowed at the table, then everybody is just going to be sitting there distracted by their tech. There are some positive changes, though. Attendance at school used to be done on paper and now is done online and can be redone over and over again as needed. As kids show up tardy, we can mark them tardy. They don't have to go to an office to get a slip of paper to show that they are tardy anymore. Some schools still do that, but for the most part, we are all online. The same can be said for grades and the gradebook. Students and parents have access to see their grades in real time when before they had to either call the school or wait for progress reports or report cards to come in. Parents can also contact teachers easier, as well as teachers being able to contact parents easier because of the access to technology. However, there's also the problem with bullying. Bullying has expanded into cyberbullying, so kids can get away with bullying other kids easier and even, as we mentioned earlier, anonymously if they have the wherewithal to do that. Moving on, now we're going to discuss how technology can be used in the classroom as a tool for students instead of what they like it to be, a distraction. Now, for what we really love about technology, how we can use it to better suit our kids. So many options are out there in terms of what to use tech for in class. Personally, I use an app called Doceri, which is an interactive whiteboard application, but it is so much more than that too. It makes it so that I don't have to go up to my whiteboard to teach anything unless for some reason our Wi-Fi isn't working or my app isn't working. I am mobile. I'm in the desk with my students teaching the whole class instead of being stuck up at a whiteboard. Then there's e-assessments like Kahoot, Quizzes, Socrative, so many others as well. The gradebook system that my district uses, Skyward, you can even do an assignment on there and have it pretty much automatically uploaded to the gradebook. There's so many things out there. Google Classroom, making it so that you don't even have to print paper anymore, as well as Nearpods, making it so that you can insert questions at random if you need to check and see if kids are following and understand the material, and that way you can check to see if what needs to be retaught, and that then the students also can see what they are lacking in what they are supposed to be learning. The key here is that students need to be monitored, and teachers must be diligent in order to ensure that students are doing that. Now, there are even tools to help with that too. Let's take a look at those. Now, in my district, we have iPads. So, what we like to use is Apple Classroom to control what our students are doing on their iPads. The best part about this is that I can use it to monitor what my students are doing on the iPads as well as control what they're doing, and by I can force them into apps, I can force them to stay on apps, and I can force them to not even get to use the iPad if they are misusing it to that extent. The main effective way, though, to keep your students from being distracted is to be present, be around the students, not sitting at your desk, and to actively monitor them as much as possible. And just to not let the fear of having to fight the distraction problem make you avoid using technology. There are things out there, there are people out there that will help you and get you through what you're going through and can even make your job that much easier. Now, Apple Classroom works for iPads, but there are other things if you have Chromebooks or if you have laptops that can do the same thing that the Apple Classroom app can do for iPads. Up next, let's discuss how to decide if technology is the appropriate thing in various situations. This will give you a handy concept of how to make that decision for yourself. Sometimes making the decision to use technology can be a difficult one. I tend to be one that leans on a simple pros and cons list, so kind of a T-chart type thing, but more of a pros and cons list where one column is a pro, one column is the cons. To do this, you have to be able to bring in your students' accommodations for special needs, inclusion, ESL, ELL, 504 kids if you have any of those, and make sure that what they need accommodation wise can be put into by you or being can be put in by using this technology. You also must keep in mind that the distractions some students can have. One must also keep in mind that while the idea of bringing in technology is to take some of the weight off of you, that you will likely have to do other things like help more students being one of them. So starting out with the technology and then going and helping students as they progress through whatever they're working on. Some students might struggle, but the nice thing is that it puts the teaching off of you as much so that you're there so that you can help them get through what they are going through. All right, so here's a quick recap of what we've talked about. First, we started off with how technology has changed in the last 20 or so years and how that has caused us to have to change the way we behave and the way we teach and the way we behave in private and public, in the classroom and out of the classroom. Then we talked about how to use technology in the classroom and how that is a both a benefit and to avoid having to deal with distractions. And then also we talked about how to decide whether or not you should use technology in certain situations. And as I close out, I would like to open it up for any questions from the audience. Please feel free to ask away.